Arms, arms, arms. Whoo boy. Arms, I thought, was a super cool game, and I really wish that it had done better. And I'm going to say this right off the bat, Smash absolutely destroyed any chance of that game's longevity, but I wanted to make a video on this, and I think this is something that I've talked about before, but I really want to emphasize this and just make this a whole video in itself. And that is that I think this game shot itself in the foot. I think that this game, which it did pretty good considering, but I think it could have done better. Because whenever this game is brought up, and if you look through my past, I had a big past with ARMS. I thought the game was really good. I thought it was a lot of fun. Definitely got mad at it like I did with Smash, but there was a lot of stuff in it that was just fun. And I feel like it kind of mastered the competitive and casual mixture. And I think that's something that Smash always tries to do, but most of us just want to play competitive. Well, I should clarify, a lot of us, because the game sold a bajillion copies. Obviously not everyone's playing competitive. More people play this game casually over competitive when talking about all the sales of the game, but I digress. So with ARMS, there's one thing that still comes up whenever I talk about this game. If it's on stream or whatever, there's one thing that comes up, and it's that people still, to this day, don't know that you don't have to use the Joy-Cons. And I think that that's where they just did a terrible job advertising. I think when the Switch was first coming out, they were really pushing that you could still use motion. In my opinion, motion, been there, done that. I think a lot of people were done with it. The Wii was a gimmick, it worked. But I think over time, people were like, all right, that was cool, let's move on. And I'm not saying that they can't do that still, but it just, I don't know. I think a lot of us are just kind of tired of it. And if you take a game like Breath of the Wild, it uses gyro, and that to me is fine. It's not bothersome to do, and it's just fine. And again, I don't want to talk like I don't think they should ever do motion or anything. They can do what they want. I mean, already we have Nintendo Switch Sports coming out, and that uses motion. So it's still a thing, but even with that game, I mean, there's no telling how well that's going to do. With ARMS, I played with Joy-Cons when I tried it at PAX. I played with Joy-Cons, I think, in the test fire. And then I was like, I'm definitely going to use Joy-Cons because it's the more competitive way, because there's more nuance with the punches, with using the motion. Then I just used the Pro Controller. I used the Pro Controller. I think a lot of people just use the Pro Controller. It was just more fun for me that way. And that's where, to me, options are huge. If it didn't have that option, I probably would have bought it anyway because I just thought ARMS was really cool. But I don't know if I would have kept playing it. And that's where I think it's a huge shame, because I think there's a lot of people, and you know, who knows, maybe not even a lot of people, but it feels like there could have been more people that would have been like, you know what, I'm going to give this game a shot. If they knew you did not have to use motion. Like I said, to this day, if I bring the game up, or if I stream it just doing something in the game, there's still people who do not know that you do not need to use motion in that game. And I'm not faulting them or anything. Nobody knows everything. And that's where it comes down to the advertising. It comes down to marketing for people to know what options are available. And that's where I think Nintendo did a terrible job. I think they really were just focusing on motion. I mean, you could even see it with 1-2 Switch, another motion game. I think at the start, they weren't sure which angle to go with, so they just kind of went with multiple ones, where it was like, okay, this is a console you could take on the go, but this is also a console that you can use motion controls with. And then I think as time went on, I think they did start to realize, okay, I don't think that many people really care about motion right now. And that's where I am very curious to see how well Nintendo Switch Sports does, but staying on topic with ARMS, I really just feel like this game could have potentially done better if more people knew that you did not have to use motion. Every time they would have an advertisement for this game, I was waiting for them to show a crowd of people, or just two people, one using motion, one not, one on the couch, one standing up. I don't get why they didn't do this. The only thing that I can think of is like what I was saying earlier with how they were kind of pushing, yes, this console has motion, but I don't see why they couldn't have just shown both. 1-2 Switch I get, but ARMS having both options, I don't understand why they wouldn't have just had an advertisement showing people playing with the different methods that were available. And some of you may be wondering, why is Marston making a video about ARMS in 2022? This game is long gone. And I think the reason is just that I think ARMS had that Nintendo magic. It was a game that, similar to how what Splatoon was with the Wii U, it was like, wow, this is a brand new Nintendo IP with brand new characters. And I think the roster with ARMS was really cool. And the whole feel of the game was just awesome, with the graphics and the music. And I liked how there was just an original idea with making a fighting game. And I'm not making this thinking that the game would still be thriving or anything. I know that Smash ultimately, no pun intended, was going to kill this game. Once Smash was coming out, and once we saw the hype around it, especially when it came out, it was like, yeah, I mean, ARMS is just done. I'm sure you can go on and still find like party matches, but when it comes to ranked, it takes a very long time, and sometimes you just don't find anyone. There is not many people playing ranked at all. You'll be lucky if you find a match. The party mode, I think you'll probably still find people. I'd have to check to make sure, but if you're going to find any matches, it would probably be with that. But even then, I'm assuming that's also a very small pool. The game is just long gone, but it's just something that's always bothered me, because I think more people could have enjoyed ARMS and been able to have experienced a brand new Nintendo IP and had fun with it. And I don't blame people at all for not wanting to give it a shot if they assumed that you needed to use motion. Because like I said, I think a lot of people were just kind of done with the whole motion thing. I do, however, think that now that Smash DLC is done, I think there could be potential for a new ARMS game, but that's going to be for a whole nother video, and that's not me saying that I think they're going to do it or anything. I'll give more of my thoughts on all of that in another video, but I don't think this IP should just be done. But again, that's all for another video. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section down below. And definitely let me know if you thought that ARMS, you had to use motion. Let me know in the comment section down below. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.